the show, everyone. And I am so excited about bringing on my first guest. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We'll share the show later on. My first guest is Monica May Dunn. She's the CEO of Arizona Escrow and Financial Corporation. She also has with her Annette Anderson, and she's the president of Arizona Escrow and Financial Corporation. So welcome to the show. You have a lot to talk about. I love to say that to you guys because you never think you do, but you do. You are, Monica, you have your own podcast. You are a pillar in our community. I would like you to first tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You also are part of a book that we're going to talk about today too. So first talk about you and what you do and why you do what you do.
Okay. So Arizona Escrow and Financial Corporation was founded in 1976, and we specialize in business transactions and commercial real estate. And we are experts at business transactions as well as the commercial real estate. And what we bring to the table is just the detail, and you don't have to think about the whole process. Once we get the escrow opened, we actually handle step-by-step. We communicate with the lawyers, the CPAs, the brokers, and we coordinate with your lender. And we're able to handle those things for you, and it gives you some peace of mind that you have that neutral third party.
Now, before we go into all of that, we first want to talk about this book that thank you for a signed copy. Thank you very much. It's an international bestseller. It's Six Figure Chicks. I love it. Let's talk about that. And you know what? Let's also talk about your company, because your company is also woman-owned.
Yes, 100% woman-owned.
That's pretty cool. So let's talk about Six Figure Chicks. What it's all about.
Yes, so Six Figure Chicks Phoenix is the actual second volume. Mel Carr is who put this together, and there's 15 ladies from Phoenix in this book, and we each wrote a chapter about our story, about where we started, and maybe some bumps in the road that we get through and the lessons that we've learned. And it's really to help other women and young women understand that there are many obstacles that we go through that actually we can learn from, and we can stick together and support each other, and that's what's important. So tomorrow night we have a book signing from 4 to 6.
Where is it?
And that is at...
It used to be called the Southwest Experience Center, and now I think it's called Next.
Yeah.
They changed the name.
That out.
They changed the name.
We'll figure it out.
Just Google Southwest Experience Center.
Yeah, it's by the Scottsdale Airport, and so you're welcome to sign up. There will be books there, and you can also meet all the authors that are contributed to this book. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
What's really cool is I'm looking at this book for the first time, and there are 15 women that obviously have done something, have gone through something that have brought them to, and they're at the top at some point, and that's you. And I want to talk about your page 91 in this book, and you wrote a little bit of I guess you would call it a chapter,
yes.
Right? Can you talk a little bit about what you wrote about?
Well, I wrote about just the male-dominated industry that I am in, and the things that I learned I've been with Arizona Escrow for 34 years. So all the experiences that I have had has really shaped my life and how I deal with the industry, and how I also learned a lot of things about leadership and how my employees and what the needs that they have. And we are a team.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple questions if it's okay. How did you, okay, let me ask this first. When you first started, and I'm sorry, I know it's a long time ago, was it all women-owned then?
No.
I know. And so when did you create it to make it all women-owned?
So the process started in 2020, but it was finalized, everything was completed in April of 2023.
And tell everybody why. That was your focus.
Right.
That's what you wanted.
Right.
So talk about that.
So I knew a long time ago, this company, I obviously love this company, I love this industry, and I love our team. And it was important to me to have a place to call home. And I knew going, our founder, he was like my dad. And when he passed away in 2020, he had taught me every step of the industry and how to manage things and things to look for. And he was my mentor. And I felt like this was my obligation. And it was also, pretty exciting, except for it was COVID. And I did talk about that in the book, deciding on whether or not I wanted to go through with this buy-sale agreement, because we didn't know what was going to happen with the world. But, hence 4 years ago, everything's been great. We're growing the company and we're expanding, our footprint in the valley and just getting out there, just talking to people. And that's why we're on the show about what Arizona Escrow does, because that's one thing that people do say is we didn't know exactly what we did before.
Well, this book is called Six Figure Chicks Phoenix, and what's really cool is that you can actually go to their book signing if you like. It's going to be tomorrow night. I wrote it down, Southwest Experience Center, and you can check them out. But mainly what I love about this is there's a lot of women out there. Is it just for men and women, though?
Yes,
right?
Men and women.
Men and
can read
women.
it, yeah.
But people out there, let's put it that way, that you don't think you can do what you're thinking about doing, right?
Right.
And but you can. And when you read stories like some of these that are in this book, I'm sure that it gives you, it just gives you the idea that, you know what, I can do that,
Yes.
right?
Each one of these ladies that have contributed has a wonderful story. It's a great book. You can also get it on Amazon. There is Six Figure Chicks, the first volume, and this is Six Figure Chicks Phoenix.
So the first volume is not Phoenix.
Correct.
This is one is Phoenix. You want Phoenix, right?
Yes, these are all
Okay.
from Phoenix. We're all from Phoenix.
So it's their second edition, and you can go to Amazon and get it there, or go to the book signing, which would be kind of cool. Southwest Experience Center. At what time did you say?
4 to 6.
4 to 6 p.m.
Yes.
The other thing that I just want to talk about in the book, or I should let you answer that. Okay, you should probably tell me what you want. What do you, when you tell people about this book, what they're going to get out of it?
They're going to be inspired. Every story in there inspires you to know that, hey, I made a mistake, or, it's okay to fail, and it's okay to start all over again. And each story does talk about that.
And each person probably started as some, normal, average Joe,
Yes.
right? And they got up in the world,
Yes.
right? I think that's really important. And through some really tough times. I mean, for you to start and buy a huge business that had been around since what, 1976? Since 76. You both, Annette, you were working there as well, but for a very long time. Now you become the owner, and when do you do it? Right during COVID. That's pretty scary.
It's very scary.
And you're doing very well
Yes.
and succeeding, and that's congratulations to you. I know you have a podcast as well. Will you tell them really about that really
Sure.
quick?
So it's Practical and Positive Leadership, and that's also you can get it on Audible, Spotify, iTunes, and Cloud. There's another one that's like Cloudcast or something.
Is all the information about that on your website?
Yes. So
This is what they like to do too. They like to combine social media with website and bring it all together with their business. And so you could check them out on their website. It's ArizonaEscrow.com. Their phone number to call if you'd like to. If you're selling a business, let me tell you, when we come back, we're going to talk about this. These are the people that you want to help you do that correctly.
Yes.
Again, that phone number to call them is 602-956-2629. The website, check it out. All the information about the book and all the book signing is all there, as well as their podcast. It's ArizonaEscrow.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. We're still live in the room. So, what's your favorite, besides your story?
What's your own favorite story?
Yeah, what's one of your favorites?
I really like Lisa Riley's story is really good. So we have them.
It's okay, don't worry about that. Just tell me about it.
Like Lisa Riley's story is
Uh-huh.
really
What-
good. Just
what-
about her education and what she went through.
She's a professor.
Yeah,
She's a
she's a
professor.
professor.
It's interesting how many women who have been hit hard, right? They get up. Not everyone, but a lot of women. Almost every one of my friends, they're single, for a long time, not a short time, long time. And they brought their kids up, and they were the chief cook, bottle washer, and the breadwinner, you know. And it's interesting how it's amazing what women can do, you
I
know.
was single for what, 6 years?
Yeah.
I
What was
was
that?
single for about 6 or 7 years, right after my daughter was born.
Wow. Well, yeah, you know,
So yeah,
hard, but women tend to just say, you know what, they do roll up their sleeves and they get it done, right?
yeah.
And it might take a minute, right? Because we're you know, a little emotional.
Yeah.
One of the things I found too is as we get older, right? I don't know about the two of you, but when I turned 40, it's like I woke up in the mirror one day, looked at myself in the mirror and went, what the heck have you been worried about for the past 20 years? It's all of a sudden you know yourself, and it seems to happen right around the age of 40. And when I told my friends that, some of them are younger than me, they called me on their 40th birthday and said, oh my gosh, that epiphany that you had on 40, it happened to me today. I looked at myself in the mirror and going, what have I been worrying about the past 20 years? I've got this.
You get
Yeah.
to that confidence.
Absolutely, you know your skin, you're okay with your
Yeah.
skin.
And you feel
I-
comfortable with yourself.
Absolutely, I mean, I remember my mother said she had to turn 80 to realize it all didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. And people, I think women tend to have, well, we go through phases.
worry a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's probably just because we do go through so many phases. You know, men don't as much because we're gonna have, you know, we had our young childhood, but then we might have gotten married, had children, maybe gone through divorce, maybe working, but all of those are different hats.
Yeah.
Right? And I think after a while, I think especially our generation, my gen, not, I'm a little older, but you know, but still it's different than like my mom's generation. I mean, my mom didn't work, right?
Right.
And that was what they did, but she did other things, right? But our generation, we're doing it all. We really are. Okay, here we go.
Should switch spot.
Nah, we're fine. You can.
Don't
You
worry,
got this.
it's okay. So welcome back, everyone. And you know, we are talking a little bit about, right, we'll be talking a little bit about this book, Six Figure Chicks Phoenix. And Monica has been, you wrote a chapter in this book.
Yes.
It's a pretty cool book. We've been talking a little bit about women during the break here. And women are so amazing. I know, men, you are too. But women are unbelievable. Especially, we were talking about our generation. I had to say it, I'll say it on air, everybody, I'm about 20 years older than, you know, but regardless.
She looks 10 years
Thank
younger.
you, no, but women, that we wear so many hats, and your generation, oh my God, you just do so much. We're all doing so much. And I know a lot of women out there, they can relate. This book, you can be something that might even, you know, just give you that inspiration to do what you've been always dreaming to do. Again, it's called Six Figure Chicks Phoenix. It's the second edition. It's an international bestseller. You can go onto Amazon, or tomorrow night, it's 4 to 6 p.m. They're going to have their book signing. It's Southwest Experience Center, and you can get all the information on their website, which is ArizonaEscrow.com. Let's go into selling businesses.
Yes.
Okay. Number one reason why somebody should call you, and by the way, you can call them. You don't have to have, they're not recommended in any way. You can call them yourselves. Tell them about why they should call someone like yourselves.
So the purpose of our escrow company is to basically help people with the buying and selling of small business and commercial real estate. That's all we do. We don't do homes, anything like that. We do vacant land, things like that. But it's really for the business communities where our niche has been, so probably the past 30, 40 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're that kind of safe haven, we're that disinterested third party. We're not on one side or the other. We are truly neutral in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do anything unless we have, you know, direction from both parties to do so. So it's kind of like that safe haven where you can, you know, be comfortable knowing that you can put your money with us and knowing, no, it's not going to go anywhere until you're aware it's going someplace.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about asset sales versus stock sales. What is it?
So when you're selling, so let's say if you have a restaurant and your restaurant is owned by a corporation, S Corp, okay? If you're just selling the assets, the equipment, the goodwill, the recipes, things like that of the restaurant, right? That's an asset sale. If you're actually selling the corporate stock of the corporation that owns those assets, that's a stock sale. Or for an LLC, it'd be a membership interest sale. So it's a little bit different as far as what happens and what's involved.
Does it depend on the type of business that
It does.
Okay.
A lot of it does. When you would do a stock sale, it's something, usually when we see stock sales, it's something like there's a professional license involved. So let's say if you have, or a federal contract or a state contract, you don't want to change that EIN number, because when you change that EIN number, you could lose your contract.
Wow.
Right? So you'll see things like in like elder care homes, things like that. Even though the people still have to qualify as individuals, if they are keeping the same corporation, sometimes it'll make it easier for them to transfer that license. So what they'll do is they will do a stock sale or a membership interest sale instead of just buying the assets of that business.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this question. So does it matter what kind of business that someone wants to sell their business? And a lot of people have so many different ones today. Do you work with all kinds of businesses?
All of them.
So it doesn't matter, even if it's a solopreneur?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta call you later on, maybe in 20 years.
We've heard your exit strategy.
That's perfect. So, and that's another thing to talk about, that you do that, and a lot of people that start a business, that's the last thing that they ever think about, right?
Is how they're going to exit it.
Mhm.
Right.
I want to give out your information. It's 602-956-2629. They work statewide, and their website is arizonaescrow.com. Okay, what about liability? Okay, let's talk about that.
So when you're buying a stock sale or the membership interest, you're actually buying everything, right? You're buying the assets, you're buying the debt.
So you're buying the good, bad, and the ugly.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything with it that's with that company goes with it.
Do people want to do that?
They do. Some
Why?
of them do.
Tell me why.
They, like I said, like if we talk about professional licenses, contracts, things along those lines that are hard to transfer. If you have a contract with the federal government and it's listed under an EIN, a certain entity, the chances of that federal government giving it to someone else is very, very slim, right?
Mhm.
So if you have a very valuable contract, or in some cases like in service industries, you'll have a license with the ROC, let's say. So what will happen is that you'll buy the stock, but the guy who you bought it from will still stay on as a qualifying party. So you can keep your ROC license until such time as that buyer can go in and qualify themselves for their own license. It's all involved. Usually the attorneys get involved at this juncture because, like I said, there is so much liability involved in taking on someone else's corporation or LLC. You have to make sure your due diligence is done correctly. You have to make sure you have the correct people in place. You got to make sure, not just your escrow company, your attorney, your accountant, everyone needs to be involved. So where we are in those particular transactions is we're the gathering place, right? So
Yeah.
as things fall into place, the attorneys, accountants, and the buyers and sellers start depositing documents, they start depositing funds, things like that into our file. And that's where we are, we're the gathering place at that point.
So the gathering, but also you help them know that each one are doing what they need to do.
Right, we also make sure that,
Right.
as we receive this from the seller, we let the buyer know, things like that. We can also, like I said, like we've talked in previous shows, we can do a UCC lien and judgment search. So we're searching county and state records to say, okay, this guy went and got an SBA loan 3 years ago, nobody knew about it, it wasn't disclosed, because if you're buying the corporation, that debt is now yours once you
Right.
buy the corporation.
Exactly, but there are some people you said that want to buy those debts. So I'm going to just ask you, so somebody might be listening right now that has been thinking about selling their business. First of all, when is the best time for them to call you, when they're starting to think about that, or when?
It's usually after you've procured your buyer.
Okay.
And either through a broker, or let's say, someone walks in and says, hey, I really like your business, I want to buy it,
Mhm.
right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? It happens. We've actually got phone calls saying, hey, some guys walked in, wanted to buy my business. What?
Great, that's awesome.
So when you're in that, when you've negotiated your transaction, you know what your terms are going to be, that's the time to contact us. We can open escrow with either a letter of intent, which is an LOI, or a contract. We do have blank fillable contracts. We cannot fill the contract for them because that would make us no longer a neutral party, right? So we can write forms. They go in, they fill out their own forms, and bring them back to us.
So someone's listening to this and maybe they've been thinking about selling their company, their business, and they have a little debt, but they thought, you know what, I have to get rid of that, and they can call you and find out, can we do this even though I have a debt?
Right.
Right?
We have a situation right now. I was actually talking to someone the other day. It was a situation where they did buy an entity, and 3 years before they bought this entity, evidently the seller didn't pay taxes. And I'm like, okay, well, how does your buyer feel about this? Because at this point, I'm still a third party, right? And they said, well, can we still sell it? I said, that's between you and the buyer. If you disclose it to your buyer and your buyer is saying, I'm willing to take the business subject to this lien, because they're not buying the corporation, they're just buying the assets. They need to go out, they need to talk to the Department of Revenue, find out what their liability could be. And if that's comfortable and they're interested in just saying, yep, I'll accept an indemnification for this, we can help drop the paperwork for them, buyer and seller agreeing to all the terms, and as long as they both agree to it, we're good to go.
And they have a contract.
And they have a contract.
Signed.
Yep, and we're good to go. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, what kind of difference have you both seen from you, because you've been doing this forever, the difference between today, because now I've said this on the air before, you cannot speak to Amazon unless they check who you are.
Right.
So what is it like when you're selling a business now today? Are there a lot of differences than from when you used to do it a long time ago?
The process hasn't changed. The people have changed, and I'm going to say COVID changed a lot, because now we have things like EIDL loans and PPP loans that are still in play, things like that. So it's changed a little bit, but it's still pretty much the same process.
Well, and here's the thing, folks, you can call them direct yourself. You don't have to be recommended, and you don't have to use whoever you're dealing with. You can have your own, and I think you should. I think everybody that is selling something should have their own person that they can rely on. I know you can work with both, but still, it's really good to have that. Their number is 602-956-2629. It's ArizonaEscrow.com. What else you want to talk about? You want to talk about your book real quickly again before we go, or because that's tomorrow night? And what you're doing tonight, let's talk about that, because you get back to the community quite a bit.
Yes, so we are sponsoring a exit planning or succession planning seminar. There's going to be a panel, and it's at the Fox and Finn hangar, and it's On Point is doing this, and basically they're just going to be talking about how to prepare yourself for exiting your business and the things that you need to think about and prepare for ahead of time.
And that's tonight you're doing that, and we're
4 to 6.
from 4 to 6. Is that also on your website?
I think it is.
Yes.
I think it is.
Well, it's out there now.
It's out there now.
But what a great thing, and I think that what like for people to be educated,
Yes.
right? And quickly tell them about your podcast one more time.
So you can find my podcast on the very top of our website, and it's Practical and Positive Leadership. And if you just if you want to go to Amazon or Spotify and Audible.
And if you want to be inspired, okay, men or women, people that, when you listen to people's stories and what they've gone through, there's nothing like it. You can get the book at Amazon, or you can go up onto their website, which is ArizonaEscrow.com. It's 6-Figure Chicks Phoenix. It's the second edition. Again, ArizonaEscrow.com.
Thank you.